glad to be joined by the 11th year head coach of the women's soccer team, John Natale, catching some men's soccer action here. His team will be in action tomorrow against UMass Lowell. And what's going on, bud?
Nada, just kind of enjoying the men's game tonight, and it's great that they're up 2-1.
Now, here's the thing. Do you take a fan seat, or are you still, like, coaching in your mind, like, what I would do?
A
Because
little
I
bit.
know you pretty well, and I'm pretty sure that you're, like, I would move him here, I would move him there. You're constantly coaching. Can you enjoy it as a fan? Can you go to a game just as a fan and enjoy it, not worried about what's going on?
Yeah, tonight that's what I'm trying to do. It's been a crazy season, in a good way for us. We're pretty happy where we're at, but sometimes you just got to kind of take a step back and take in a game and enjoy it, and that's what I'm kind of doing tonight.
I like it sometimes. I feel like once I let you settle down for a little bit, um, that thought process of enjoying it comes to fruition for you.
Well, it's definitely different when it's your team and you're
Yeah.
responsible for them. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoy winning. I want to win for my players, for the program, for Hartford. Uh, we want to put a good product out in the field, and it gets emotional at times just because we care a lot.
I think I like the fact that you care. I've said on the air multiple times during your broadcast that if I was a player, I would want to play. As there's a cross and cleared out by the Blue Devils momentarily. Still kept in by Tryon. Will he have another opportunity? Off to his left, takes a shot, ricochets. And now coming the other way is CCSU. Ball quickly stolen away by Blake Jones. He'll play it. And it looks like a corner kick going to be, nope. We're going
Goal
to have a
kick
goal kick
Central.
coming the other way. But I'd said that I like your emotion as you're fiery, and if you need to play for somebody, you want somebody that cares as much as you do. Now, I sometimes need to calm you down after the game for a post-game interview for 2 minutes, but
Yeah, sometimes in the course of the game and how the game goes, you get a bit emotional and you kind of give an emotional response. Um, but again, it's only because I care, and I
yeah,
think the players appreciate it at times, and um, they know I'm 100% committed to the program, to the team, and um, sometimes it's just the way it is.
it's just the way it is. You guys have a record right now of 5-2-3. You're coming off a win at an open conference play here at home, beating Albany 1-0. And if you take a look at your schedule, there's some games there that obviously, in the conversations that we've had that should have been in the left-hand column, and the record should be a little bit better off. But the most important part is, even though you're 5-2-3, you're 1-0 in conference play instead of 0-1. And I always like giving the analogy with the baseball playoffs now going on. It's better to be ahead in the count at 1-0 instead of 0-1 because now you're on the offensive and you put your guys selves in a pretty good position.
Yeah, I like where we're at. I mean, you're right. We're 5-2-3 right now. I do think our record could be a little bit better, um, but that's because we weren't able to finish some chances. And early in the season, it's tough. Um, you're trying to figure out what kind of team you have, what players, what positions they play well in. You want to get the most out of them, and you're kind of trying to find an identity those first couple of games. I think we've done that. I think every game in our non-conference schedule has prepared us um, for the conference. Every game was a battle. There wasn't an easy game. I mean, we had to fight for every little inch. And I think we did that, and we did that well. And sometimes we were a bit unfortunate, a bit unlucky, but um, you're right. The only thing that matters is the conference, and we started out 1-0. We had a great game against Albany, and I do think that game was the first game we put 90 minutes together from start to finish. It was a complete game, or the best that we've played up until that point, and we're happy with that, and we're looking to build on that, continue um, with a win on Thursday night. If we can do that, I think we're going to set ourselves up pretty nice moving forward.
He's John Natale, 11th year head coach for the women's soccer team, joining us here the second half of the men's soccer game between Hartford and CCSU. The Hawks lead it 2-1 as we're in the early parts of the second half. And the Hawks controlling a good chunk of that first half, and I guess a little similar to your team, a little bit slow out of the gate, and then they settled in. They gave up a goal 3 minutes into the game, and then they get the tying goal 15 minutes later. And then what I thought was an excellent decision by Aleko Petrides. Instead of pinching in to try to get the header, he played it back, and the ball came right to him, and he was able to give themselves the lead.
Yeah, this has been a game that's been back and forth. I think it's two very competitive teams, two even teams, and to be honest, there's been three great goals. Central had a great goal in the opening couple minutes, and Hartford followed with two exceptional goals for the remainder of the half. I mean, Aleko's last goal was class.
Here's Roy, far side, as he looks for Giovanni Sims. Sims that as I mentioned at the break, had left the game, had reached down for his right ankle as Tryon tries to whip a header upper right 90, but misses near side. But Sims had left on his own power, hobbled off, and glad to see him back to start the second half. Now, you guys have had your past 4 goals have been a combination, mix and match of Chanel Johnson and Sydney Sprimulo, and those two are stepping up for you. Who could be the potential third? Is it Erica Primovic? Is it Elise Gallipo that could step up for you guys? And if you can get 3 people that are on the attack at all times, it's kind of keeps your opponent, keeping their head on a swivel to who do we mark?
Right. Well, first off, I think Sydney and Chanel have been exceptional. I mean, they're so dangerous. They're explosive. They're dynamic. They're going to put defenders on their heels. And like I said before, you can contain them for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, even maybe 70 minutes. But at one point, they're going to get through, and we're going to get chances. They just have to stay focused. They have to be engaged, and they have to finish those chances. But those two are very dangerous. You're right in saying we do need a third to emerge. We've had a couple players like Elise, Primo, Aaliyah, that have had moments, but we need more consistency out of at least one of them. Again, they've all been great, but we need someone else to kind of step up along with Sydney and Chanel.
But you had also mentioned a few times that this is the deepest team that you can remember in your 11 years here at the University of Hartford. So I can only imagine what a practice looks like. And then you also sitting down with your coaching staff as CCSU has their first opportunity here in the second half. Just off to the right of McKinnon. They're drawing 2 white jerseys. Circling back in the corner is Cordero. He has the lone goal for the Blue Devils in this ball game, and all finally comes back to the midfield stripe. But you had mentioned about your depth, and does it make it a little bit harder on you to kind of look down right before a game and say, all right, who are my starters going to be? Because practice has been, a lot of quality names there to put on that paper.
Well, it's funny, the last probably 4 or 5 games, there's been at least 1 or 2 players that have been changed. And that's because, they're training well in practice, or, the past game that player has stepped up, and we've rewarded them by putting them into the lineup. I think Elise and Erica have been sharing that time, and, both of them have been playing well, but there's only 11 players that can start, but practices have been great. Credit to the players. I mean, obviously the level we have to work with has been very high, so we're happy with that. And we have a lot of young players in the roster, too, that are just kind of waiting for that chance.
He is John Natale, the head coach for the women's soccer team. They play host to the Riverhawks of UMass Lowell tomorrow. Kickoff at 6 o'clock here. We'll be on the airwaves at 5:50 here on Hartford All Access. The men's team is in action here against CCSU tonight, a 2-1 lead for the Scarlet and White. And both these teams in the few years that we've been able to cover you guys here on Hartford All Access, both teams have been on the rise. You've been strong, anchoring with the defense and kind of moving forward from there. But the one thing that's eluded both programs is that America East Championship. But you guys have both collectively have been fairly close. How's the relationship with Tom Poitras and his coaching staff? And How close are these programs to getting that elusive America East championship? Potentially here in 2014.
Yeah, it's great. I know Tommy and I are good friends. I think the players, the men's players and the women's players are good friends. I think everyone gets along, and you're right. I think both programs over the last 3 years, um, we've been right there. We've been knocking at the door. Whether we've been in the finals, semifinals, had some unfortunate games where maybe we lost that we should have won. But both programs, I mean, we're knocking at the door. I think it's only a matter of time before one of us can bring that title back to Hartford. And we're hoping one of us can this year,
If not both of you.
if not both.
I think this is a very good year for, I'd probably say, let me give 5 teams, 6 teams potentially, depending on, health and all those good things. Centering pass and broken up on the defensive effort of Ben Knight, the junior defenseman out of Nottingham, UK, and a corner kick coming up for the Hartford Hawks, but potentially 5 or 6 programs here in the full year for the Hartford Hawks that have, health, knock on wood, stays strong. They potentially could have championships.
Yeah, things are.
I know that's, raising the bar high, but that's just in my
No,
personal
but
opinion.
listen, I've been here 11 years, and over the last 3 or 4 years, there's a lot of programs that have turned the corner and that are just knocking at that door. Justin had a great season last year.
Yeah, baseball team.
Tommy had a great season last year, as did we. John Gallagher did well. But I think, the volleyball team's having a great year this year. The sport programs here have been exceptional. I mean, they're on the rise, and, hopefully we can continue that.
Now, kind of a good segue to that. You guys get a new leader in Anton Goff, and like you said, you've been around for quite some time here at the University of Hartford. We're talking to John Natale, 11th year head coach of the women's soccer team, and Anton is new. He comes in, a very high energy guy, and for a veteran guy like you, how does some new blood and new spark, I guess, feed into what Hartford Athletics is going to be?
He's been an exceptional leader. He brings so much energy to that athletic department.
He's got a lot of energy, right?
A lot of energy. But to be honest, I mean, he makes me want to work for him and want to win games. I mean, he's a great person first and foremost. He gives. I can only speak for our program. He gives our program a lot of support. I feel he believes in me, which makes me want to work harder. But
you're an emotional guy to begin with.
He's. I have nothing but positive things to say about him, and you come into work and he's there early in the morning and he's got a lot of energy. So he's been great. I mean, I have nothing but positive things to say, and I'm looking forward to the future with him.
Well, we appreciate you stopping in for a couple minutes here on the broadcast. Obviously, we'll have a conversation with you tomorrow in the pregame as your girls get set to host the Riverhawks at UMass Lowell.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, that is John Natale, 11th year head coach for the women's soccer team.